Good evening, everybody. All right. Hope everybody's having a nice summer evening. We'll try to make this relatively quick tonight so that everybody can get back out and watch the stars. But J-hook pattern setting up today in the Dow, and the steady uptrend continued here in the NASDAQ. S&P 500 continued up nicely, and the transportation index bounced up off the 50-day, or I'm sorry, off the T-line. So the assumption is that the uptrend remains in progress and maybe even fairly strong still, based upon the pattern, the J-hook pattern setting up. So let's go to the biggies first. FedEx is still working very nicely ever since this breakout, 45-degree in progress. Apple also maintaining a good uptrend. Amazon still using the T-line as support after it's broken out through this wedge formation. So you just stay long, but use the T-line as your stop for two reasons. One, if it came back down through here after the big long-legged doji, that would tell us that this was kind of acting as a support level and maybe at best going sideways. Wouldn't be a good trader. Nvidia kind of did some backing and filling today, but still maintaining its uptrend. And Netflix kind of dead in the water. You can see the sideways wedge in progress. Ooh, Tesla did some backing and filling, a left-right combo, except it still hasn't closed below the 3 T-line, let alone the T-line. So you really want to see this one open flat or positive, continuing this uptrend. Okay, we recommended a couple today that was based upon the J-hook pattern, IMMR. And it can still be bought on the basis that if it breaks out through this level, wave 3 is now in progress. Forgot what the other one was. Oh. OUSR opened positive but backed off a little bit. So a lot of people were concerned. But remember, we're still coming off a very strong buy signal. The best friend signal up through the T-line, the 50, and the 34. So not unusual to see some profit taking, but we still have to assume that the best friend signal is still in place. And this is why you want to see what they do after the open. You can see this one opened positive, BNTX, but then immediately started selling off. This is the type of, this is the reason why, even though something opens positive, you want to see what they do as soon as it opens positive. And that's where you can flip to a 10-minute chart or a 5-minute chart, because if this had opened and traded down and then came back up through, that would have told us the profit taking was over. They're starting to starting to take it back up, doing what the signal told us it was supposed to be doing. And this one has just been stronger than bear's breath. So look at everything on this chart. There's your big cradle. There's your J-hook pattern that started with a best friend signal. Now there's your fry pan bottom breakout, wherever you want to put the breakout. And it was trading up as high as 42 something. Right now I think it's up just slightly above where it opened. But this is what we're looking for, is these big breakout moves. All right, just a few others that are still in the portfolio. USX, you can stay long. EB needed to open positive and trade positive today. We got a little bit iffy, but notice what it's done. It stayed above the T-line, still coming out of this fry pan bottom with that bullish flutter kicker signal. You can still be a buyer of this one on positive trading tomorrow. PNR, just a steady eddy. Now plug backed off. I guess somebody had said there was a negative article out on it by one of the short selling funds. If it starts trading positive, you can be buying this one because of this breakout and because of this strong uptrend, or the uptrend staying up above the T-line. CLSK is on the brink. It's still up above the T-line. It definitely needs to trade positive tomorrow. And BE closed out BE today because you've had a shooting star doji, indecision, and then kind of another bearish day. There's really no direction to this. Now, this is kind of that subjective analysis that a lot of people are having problems with. So the idea is, because of the color of the candles and the nature of the candles, we can see that right now it's not in the bullish trend that we thought it would be on this little breakout with the best friend. Doesn't mean it's out of the woods or off the watch list. It basically tells us we got to watch to see if it can break up through this level. So it needs to see some more buying strength before going back into it. And this is why I always tell people you want to learn the 12 major signals, but you want to be familiar with the other signals. This is more of a kind of a two dark crows. It's not a good sign. Had a breakout of a cradle pattern, it's probably still a good trade, but it's probably not going to be a great trade. So closed it out just because it wasn't showing a lot of strength. Now it's still viable if it comes back up through today's open. Is Apple? Well, yes, you're up in the overbought area, so definitely want to be a little bit more careful on this one. But for all we know, we're doing this, and then this, doing this, and then this. So far, you don't have a sell signal. And QGen, kind of the same scenario here. Starting to see some selling. There's a dark cloud failing at this level. If you're long, it's kind of telling you they're running out of steam up here. Stochastics up in the overbought area, rolling over. Now you have to ask yourself, is this the best place to have your money, or is there something that looks like this or something that looks like this? that you could move to. So if this opened lower tomorrow, I'd probably close it out, and I probably wouldn't pay attention to it until it came back up through the highs. Oh, I don't know. Those aren't hanging men. Remember what the definition of a hanging man is. The tail needs to be 2 times greater than the body. And what else am I? Oh, so here's that analysis of Friday. Look what happened in apps. Uptrend, 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 but then we had a doji type shooting star. Didn't tell us there was any selling just yet, but it was telling us maybe things were getting weaker. So we took off half the position because we had obviously very good profits in it. And then when it started trading lower, we closed out the other half. Now, did we know it was going to trade off this hard? Definitely not. Thought it was going to come back to the T-line. But right now, with stochastics rolling over, your shooting star doji, your hard sell, it's better to take that money and go find something that looks more like this. So that's part of getting ready. And this is kind of not the subjective part, but the anticipation part of candlestick analysis, is seeing when things are starting to set up for maybe a reversal. CRNC was a good strong chart until they opened it, traded lower. Let's make this bigger. Opened, traded lower. Opened positive, traded lower. Opened positive, traded lower. You can see what was happening here. This is pretty much telling you the bears are starting to take control. Not a good place to be, or the probabilities are not in your favor. And overstock. Kind of the same scenario. It's still above the T-line, which you have to use that as part of your analysis. And you can see what has been affecting it all the way up. It's never been able to close below the T-line. But now you got a left-right combo after a doji, a left-right combo. Stochastics getting a little bit squeamish up here. Might be telling you it's getting close to time to start taking profits. And then on the short side, EXAS still looks like it's in wave 1, wave 2, in wave 3. Now on the other side of the coin, we did cover the CRE puts because we're in the oversold area, and it traded positive above that open. And we had another piece of evidence that maybe it's time to cover. Look how far away you've moved from the T-line. Jerry, no, not necessarily. Just because you had a trade that was a good trade and now you've got a sell signal doesn't necessarily mean they may be selling it off. They may be doing a J-hook pattern. So if you do decide to go short on weakness tomorrow, then you got to be very conscious that they don't bring it right back up through the T-line, or that they start trading off indecisively like a doji. That would be giving you kind of a warning. All right, one of the things we like to find is the breakouts. You can see what happened on this one. Indecisive, 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 Now they've told you something. Something's going on. Now you can do, first of all, this becomes your alert. And secondly, when you have an alert, which I don't have the resources on my charts right now that I use, you go and see if there was news that might be creating something that would make this continue to the upside. So the J hooks are working. That one, IMMR, I still would be not afraid to buy on positive trading tomorrow. We thought Graph was going to, somebody said they would be reporting earnings this afternoon, but apparently not. But there's another J-hook pattern. Now, this is why the signals and patterns are very helpful. Look at our kind of our cradle pattern right on the 50-day moving average. Or is that the 200-day moving average? 200-day moving average. Now you've got a J-hook pattern. And you also have what could be construed as a fry pan bottom. So why is that? Adding the cradle pattern, J-hook pattern, fry pan bottom together worthwhile? Because that's the way human nature consistently works. So the reason you go with the patterns, here's a bobble breakout potential on Signet Jewelers. This opens positive. What's this expectation here? Same as this. Why is it more clear? Because they're doing it right at a moving average that everybody can see. VVI, another setup for a J-hook pattern. And what's the additional evidence? They're doing it right smack dab off the 200. Look at your little double doji. If this opens positive, you're probably going into wave 3. Avis, same scenario. Observe the obvious. A J-hook pattern supporting right here on the 200. And COPA. Another J-hook pattern setting up right off the 200. SFIX looks like a bobble breakout. Classic fry pan bottom J-hook pattern with a morning star signal. That one's got a lot of upside potential to it. Well built J-hook pattern. ARMK J-hook pattern off the, why are these all goofed up tonight? Let's see what's happening here. What's that? I don't know why I'm getting different colors on this tonight. But the next target could be up to the next resistance level. Moss, J-hook pattern right off the T-line. So again, these indicators that we use allows us to see exactly what investor sentiment is at levels that everybody's watching, or the natural support and resistance level. That's right, the darn cat gets in here. That's Del Taco. Notice how they start gapping it up. When they start gapping things up, gap up, that tells you there's a lot of force yet to come. Defend doesn't come up over here. I don't know why. SPAC, that's one to keep on your chart. Look at the little slow curve, wedge breakout. And here's another potential bobble breakout with a kind of a belt hold type signal. If you were watching today on ARMK, you'd really have to be watching, but you did have a kind of a morning star signal, backed off. When it started coming positive, that would have told you, yeah, you could start buying it. I think that was the same scenario over here on IMMR. It opened, traded lower, but looked where it traded to, right to the support level of the T-line. Then when it came up through, as soon as it came through the open, you're alerted because what color is this candle becoming? It's going from a dark red to a green. And what's that tell us? It tells us they're buying, especially they're buying above where they open. And what were we looking for? Bullish confirmation on this J-hook pattern. Neon, there's a nice fry pan bottom. Neo, kind of a fry pan bottom, about ready to break out. The cruise lines came back. Kind of a big fry pan bottom set up on Norwegian, kind of a bobble breakout. Now the reason, HS, well, it's kind of related to NIO. That one you can buy, but I'd wait for it to break out of this kind of wedge formation. So essentially you've got the potential of a, a bullish doji sandwich breakout. So I'd be watching this. Kind of your wedge. So I'd wait for it to get up through that level. And Dave and Buster's. Oh, now I have to get rid of these things. Dave and Buster's, you can get ready to buy. Kind of a little inverted hammer bullish confirmation. And if I make this kind of a fry pan bottom setup. And CHX, there's your morning star signal. Now, why is this significant? Because look where the morning star signal is occurring. Right smack dab on the 200. If it opens positive, what do we got going on? Another wave to the upside. I would wait to see if the cruise lines follow through. The cruise lines and the airlines took a pop today because of the tweet that they were getting close to a vaccine for the virus, which means all those would be popping because they've been waiting for the vaccine to come along. Baba, there's your breakout. Guess we can do it this way. And Twitter, there's your breakout. So I'll probably be recommending Twitter tomorrow on wave 1, wave 2, now going into wave 3. Richard, remember what we said about the signals versus the patterns. The signals you want to buy when you're in the oversold area. The patterns are usually going to be bought when you're up in the overbought area. And that's exactly what you want to see happening here is a breakout. I'll go back to this one. Look where the breakout occurred. Jeez, who drew all these lines on here? Look where it kind of broke out, right about where the pattern started. They broke up through that level. The purple line, I think, is the 200. No, it may be the 50. I don't know why we're getting set max to color. What is happening here? Is that what's happening? Maybe that's what was happening. All right. That should be the 50. Well, okay. The red is the 200. Now, something has gotten goofed up. What is this? Where's the modify? How did I get that on there? Something's happened here. Exponential. Color should be a gray. Apply. All right. Okay. The 200, the 50, the 34 exponential, the 8 exponential T line, and the 3 T line. I don't know what happened. So we did BABA. BABA broke out. Twitter broke out. And PK not a very good looking chart. But what signal is setting up over here? There you go, yes. Your Morningstar signal, Doji Sandwich McMuffin. So it might not be a pretty chart, but it might be a very compelling chart that if it comes up through the 50, you can start buying. Let's go to, how many do I have more? Oops, got 4 more, and then we'll take a look at some of the commodities. HEIA, that's a good J-hook pattern. That's a defense stock. Air, another pattern setup, kind of a bobble breakout, a defense stock. And Jets, if they bounce, come up through the 50, they come back and support on the 50, where do you think the next target will be? Up here at the 200. AN, it's still in a viable uptrend. I actually closed out calls today because they looked a little bit iffy right up until the close. They popped it. So you can still be buying this one because of the classic fry pan bottom J-hook pattern. That's right. Okay, so the I think we can get this. Nope. CLAV. You can see what's happening on crude oil, which basically is nothing. It's only moved less than $1 or $2 over the last month, which is good. You recommended I not buy BJ last Friday. I hope I did the right thing. Oh, only recommending not to buy it because it was already, if that was Friday, you were already up pretty strong. My recommendation would have been go find something that looks more like this instead of something that's already moved up 20%. Yes, I just bought some soybeans. They are trading up. So you got a J-hook pattern. I haven't checked corn. Corn is up. Look at the pattern. Look at your kind of your bobble breakout. Where do you think your next likely target's going to be? Testing that high, which would put you here at the 200. Yeah, just because it's still moving up doesn't necessarily mean it's a good buy. You're up here in the overbought area. You've moved from basically the $35 level to the $45 level. So this would have been one that I would have said, I wouldn't be buying here. Where would have been the spot to buy? Well, maybe here or back down here. So what's that tell me? Go find something that looks more like this instead of something that has already moved. And wheat, while we're here, it touched the 200. How did that get back like that? What's happening here? Okay. So wheat is telling us, maybe that's not as good. Did I get crude oil? I got crude oil. Gold, just sideways. So that wouldn't be something I'd trade right now. And silver, not really going anywhere. I don't know whether I can get copper, or I can't remember. Was it ZCEAU? Darn. CF.CP. Copper. Okay. Let's see. Maybe it's CPAU. Okay, copper. Pretty much stuck sideways also. Probably wouldn't be long or short this one. And what else was I going to do? Let's see. Oh, some of the meats. This is lean hogs. Not something that I would trade right now because it's not showing anything consistent. And cattle. That one was hard to trade today because you can see it gap down and traded up. And it really didn't have a signal, but it did close below the T line. Okay, right now, whatever investor sentiment is telling us is that no matter what the political rhetoric that's going on and all the stuff going on, they're still buying this market. That's not an all-time high, but that's an all-time high, and I'm not sure. Looks like the SPY has hit an all-time high. So investor sentiment is still obviously very bullish, and it's not exuberant. Maybe today became a little bit exuberant, but you're not seeing that gap up type move yet that's starting to move you away from the T-line. Okay, I think that's about all I got for tonight. Are there any general questions on candlesticks? Just wondering, do you gain more profits from trading futures, options, or stocks? That's not, yeah, obviously I don't trade big positions of futures. So my big money is from stock positions, some money from options, and then I trade futures during the day just when everything's starting to move slow. At least I got something to scream at. Yes, so that's what's kind of telling us is which sectors might be picking up strength. We can see the airlines are starting to show some strength. I don't know why this chart keeps jumping back to small. And the home builders have been good, steady eddies ever since the breakout here. Toll Brothers, Pulte Homes, ever since they broke out of this area, you can stay long on these as long as they stay above the T-line. Oh, Pamela, it all depends on which stocks we're aggressively going after. Darn, Twitter. We'll probably be buying some calls on this one. If this is wave 1, this is wave 3. Fortunately, I've got calls on Shell, which, as you can imagine, since we are buying right here, are big, huge profits at this point. I will trade ETFs, but sometimes the ETFs are hard to get into. Nail, for example, those options are not traded very much, so there's very small open interest, which it makes it hard to get in and out of. But if I was not finding something specifically good or bad in Labu, might just trade Labu. Okay, so to give everybody an update, I get a lot of questions or counseling questions on I'm doing this or my mental something or other keeps me from I can identify a good pattern to get into or a good signal to get into, and I can't pull the trigger, or I don't know when to take profits, or I'm getting into good positions but I'm not making any money. So we are going to be doing a training session on how to eliminate your emotions. It's going to be on a Saturday here, probably within probably September sometime. It's going to be a full day training, but this is going to be, I want to say, when you're trading candlesticks, you need to know the mechanics. You need to know the ABCs, your signals and patterns, and then top rank signals and patterns. Then you need to know your entry and exit strategies, your stop loss. These are the mechanics. Now, when you put all those mechanics together, that is what keeps the emotions out of your trading. You start trading based upon what the chart is telling you versus what your emotions keep flipping you around. And the reason I'm so good at teaching it is because being the worst investor in the world, until candlesticks came along, I know everything that I did wrong and how I corrected it using candlesticks. Ring the bell, then take it off the list. Should a stop loss be set at 1 or 2% below your portfolio or current price? Lou, my answer to that is the market doesn't give a hoot of where you bought. So a percentage pullback means absolutely nothing. What you want to look for is if the chart is telling you the bulls have taken control, where is the level that tells you the bears have taken control? Sometimes that's the halfway point of the bullish candle that told you it was time to buy. Sometimes it's below the open of the previous candle. So it has nothing to do with percentages. No problem pulling trigger, but often get stopped out. Will, that means you're not picking the right spot that tells you that was the level that told you there was a drastic change of investor sentiment. We can do a stop loss again. Yes, so the stop could be something that if it pulls back 0.3%, you're out. Sometimes it's 13%. It all depends on the chart. Yes. Oh, what is today? Wednesday night. Cam is going to be in here doing Wednesday night is our training on binaries. How do you execute your stops with options? Do you do it online or through your broker? Larry, I usually am sitting here most of the day. So you can put in contingency orders that would say if the stock price comes back down through X or $50 a share, close my options. Now the disadvantage with just putting a stop like that on an option trade is the bid-ask spread, that if the bid was 2 and they were asking 240 and you had it, if the stock hit 50, it hits a market order, they might get you out closer to the 2 side. Whereas if you're sitting here and say, it hits 50, they're bidding 2, they're asking 240, let's see if I can get out at 220. But there is the contingency order. If you had a choice, only one pattern to trade daily, which would be your personal favorite? Not so much as for a day trade, but my number one top rank signal and pattern is the best friend signal. Anytime I see a best friend, that's going to be the first one I go after. Larry, what you might have to do is call up your the brokers there and ask them, is there a way to set it up? Okay. With that, remember, when you're making a request, the new policy is there should be a question of what you're asking about. And it can be just as simple as, where do I go long? where should I have a stop, but something where we're not just doing grocery lists. That's what I'm getting aggravated at. So with that, Jim, go ahead and do the double line. And then we'll give people more time. 6.2 seconds. Do the other double line. Chegg, short? Yes, you can go short on this one. Look at this right here. There was your bearish engulfing, finally putting the final nail in the coffin. And since then, they really haven't been able to close above the T-line. Now, remember, if you are short, you stay short. If you're going short, you got to be aware that you're almost in the oversold area. So you want to be a little bit more attentive or have a place where you stop out. You can buy this one on positive trading with the expectation you're heading for the 200. Disney, you can buy this one on a J-hook pattern, positive open tomorrow. Lumber liquidators. Yeah, that's a little bit dicey. I would, if you're long, you did have a gap up shooting star. I'd put a sell stop at yesterday's or Friday's close. If it comes down through there, you know which direction it's heading. Celica, not a best friend. Remember, a best friend is a gap up, but that is still a good kind of scoop type pattern. Wouldn't be afraid to buy that one on positive trading. Reggie, that's more of a kicker signal. Now there's your best friend down here. This is more of a kicker signal with a J-hook pattern setup. Uh-oh. Trox. That's setting up nicely. A left-right combo, a doji, gap up. You can buy this one on positive trading, also expecting kind of a classic fry pan bottom J-hook pattern. Disney, yeah, I wouldn't be afraid to buy that one. Now Disney doesn't move around a whole heck of a lot, but it's a good looking chart right now. AKCA. Another one that you can get ready to buy on positive trading, because that would be a bullish doji sandwich breaking out through the 34 and pretty much breaking this downtrend. And then your next likely target should be the 50-day moving average. And CNK, same scenario. You can see the fry pan bottom. You can see the bobble breakout. You can see the doji sandwich McMuffin. That one you can be buying. Again, that's probably picking up strength with the hope that the virus is finding a vaccine soon. This one you expect a 45 degree. Now remember what happens on these type of signals. If this opens here and starts trading lower, close it out immediately. It needs to open flat and trade positive, so at least you've got the 45 degree. And UNM, nothing wildly exciting about this one. It's not a reversal signal. Yeah, that wouldn't be the. Yeah, I'd find something else. That's not a real stimulating chart. Just a very slow uptrend. Now this one's more active because it did a gap up today. Still not a wild chart, but at least figure it's coming up into this area. Not not a huge upside. And graph, I would be more apt to be going after this one on positive trading because you can see why we bought it. There was our cradle pattern off the 50. Now there's our J-hook pattern. And notice what else it did today. The J-hook pattern is coming up off the T-line. And today the low was right on the T-line and they took it back up. So any positive trading from this, expect this type of move bringing you back up testing this area. GM. That's still in a good uptrend, using the 200/T line as support. Let's see. Got in today near the high, then it pulled back. Didn't pull back. This is what we call study your advanced methods rising. Big up move, sell off, sell off, sell off. Maybe they closed just below the T line, but the fact that they gapped it back up off of this area tells you you're probably in an uptrend. We did this. Cinemark, yes, there's your McMuffin. And Spotify, this is a fry pan bottom, but it opened positive and traded lower today. But this is what kind of keeps you in trades. Fry pan bottom, remember our simple rule that if you see a buy signal and a close above the T line, you can stay long until you see a sell signal and a close below the T line. And it's more effective when you're in a fry pan bottom. You just stay in a fry pan bottom as long as it stays above the T line. Broadcom, that one you get ready to buy. Here's another one I forgot, Run. Kind of broke through that level. So that's got new prospects to it. Yes, so you got a little breakout on avocado. Definitely want to see this open positive. Roku, nah, there's no trajectory. I wouldn't be long or short Roku. I bet you dime to donuts, it's drifting sideways, waiting for the 50 to catch up. No, wouldn't consider this a fry pan. That's that to me is just nothing until you see a breakout. Cindy, what do we want to know on these? Workhorse, nothing there. Sideways. And DKNG, another one that I wouldn't be long or short. Just a chart that's not telling you anything. Joseph, yes. So this is why I was pushing this one so hard, is because of this, the cradle pattern. Then after the kind of the doji sandwich, it went into a J-hook pattern with your best friend. So you got a cradle pattern, J-hook pattern, best friend starting the next wave. And now you've broken out. So these are the type, this is exactly what we're looking for as far as a fry pan bottom breakout with a lot of added analytical plus to it. The cradle and the J-hook with the best friend signal. Dish, no. Remember, a kicker signal is a substantial candle. This is just kind of a little indecisive candle. It's still a good chart, but not nearly as strong as a kicker signal. But it's still a indecisive trading day, a spinning top with a kind of a gap up. So it still tells you there's some strength there, just not the full-fledged strength of a true kicker signal. But where did you get in today, or was this a while ago? This one had the slow curve breakout, then the J hook, but then it was still doing. There's why do we have a? I don't know why. Oh, just the fact that there was a resistance level right there. Let's see. Trip. Another one that's not wildly exciting. If you're long, you definitely want to see this get up above the 200. Don't know whether I would buy it. Yeah, I might buy it there because of the potential little slow curve. And when it breaks out through the 200, everybody and their brother that's watching it is going to start buying it because it broke through the 200. When you can buy this one with the expectation you're heading for the 200. Las Vegas Sands, kind of the same scenario. Yeah, Tesla didn't do a sell signal. It's just a kind of a down day and an uptrend. CLDR, nothing there. That was kind of the same scenario as, darn, F-SLY. Opened up again and sold it off. This one, I would have closed it out today and be ready to buy it if it came back up through that open. This one, nothing wrong. Yeah, just basically what you're looking at is a strong signal and then some profit taking. Nothing to tell you they've reversed it. And Ballard, it's now a chart that had the potential of breaking out, but now you can consider it more of a fry pan bottom because it's junky, but you can see the trajectory. So I'd still be if you like this, you can still buy it, but it's going to be more apt to be a fry pan bottom. Fortunately, though, this fry pan bottom going from here to here is still going to be about a 20% upside just to get to the breakout level. Tesla, no. It is a left-right combo, so you get ready. So you got two things to analyze. Wave 1 and wave 3 are getting to be about the same. You're still above the 3T line, let alone the T line. So if it opens lower tomorrow, maybe you take some profits with the anticipation they're going to bring it back down to the T line. If it opens positive, it means they're staying above the 3T line. That's a good bobble breakout on EXPE. You stay with this one. So Ballard Power, okay, as long as say yes. Anytime you're in what you can perceive as being a fry pan bottom, you can stay long as it stays above the T line. Okay, hope everybody's having a good summer. Can't believe it's already getting near the end of August. So with that, everybody have a good evening. We will see you bright and early tomorrow morning in